Let's get talking this Monday now. The Nigerian advertising industry has witnessed rapid growth from its early beginning when town criers used to announce the availability of various products and services to the multi-billion naira industry, attracting global recognition and partnership. However, despite its huge prospects within the sector is faced with myriads of challenges, and a major one is government regulation and policies, especially faced by players in the Outdoor Advertising Association of Nigeria, that's OAAN. It is worthy of note that in recent times there have been issues with the Lagos State Signage and Advertising Agency and members of the Outdoor Advertising Association of Nigeria involving overlapping functions, multiple taxation and regulatory arrogance. Now, the bone of contention now is a decision of LAASA to concession 7 major roads in the metropolitan Lagos for up to 10 years to certain parties, and obviously some individuals that will have concession rights to exclusively install, own, manage and operate all fixed and stationary advertising infrastructure and assets. The affected roads are Ikorodu Road, Lasu Isheri Road, Lagos Badagry Expressway, Funshaw Williams Avenue, Apapa Oshodi Expressway, Obafemi Awolowo Road, Ikeja, Mobolaji Bankantoni Way, and that's what we have here. But let's just get talking, because to understand this and of course issues in that space, I have joining me in our studio live today 2 gentlemen. First is Mr. Femi Adelusi. He's the president of Media Independent Practitioners Association of Nigeria, also called MIPAN, right? Or MIPAN. And also the chairman of the Heads of Advertising Sectorial Groups. And on the other side is the president of the Outdoor Advertising Association of Nigeria, OAAN, Mr. Emmanuel Ajufo. Good afternoon. It's good to have you in the studio.
Good afternoon.
Let me start from my left hand, from you, sir. Let me start with you first. What has been the relationship between your association and, of course, regulatory agencies like LAASA before now? And what is the true situation of what is on ground at the moment?
Well, the truth is that we welcomed LAASA when they came up. And even before LAASA came to be, OAAN members participated in the committee that the government set up to bring up LAASA. And so we welcome LAASA because we believe in regulation. And we believe that a regulatory agency like LAASA should set up standards for our members to then follow. The essence is, as you know, that our business is to add to the environment, to the beauty of the environment. And so when they set up the standards, our members will follow the standards, and then everything will work out well. We've been enjoying our relationship. We've been having some areas of concern, and we've been discussing. And until recently, when the issue of concession of 7 roads now came up, we've talked about it with LAASA, and we felt that they had understood our point and we are not going ahead. And so we were shocked when we saw the newspaper publication talking about the 7 roads after we had discussed. And ever since, we've been talking about it, but it seems as if LAASA is going ahead. So that is where we are for now.
Let me also ask you, what is first is your reaction to the planned concessioning? Many would say that the government is just trying to raise some money. So what are you saying to this?
I think the first is to recognize some of the good things that Lagos State is doing.
Good.
If you look at, for example, the Lekki Free Trade Zone, in which certain companies who operate there have VAT waivers just to enhance business. And I think that's what the role of government should be. How does government support businesses such that businesses can grow and thrive? And that's also what the role of regulation is supposed to be. Now, to your question around the concessioning, I think the first is to say, in the route that has been concessioned, perhaps in the last 10 years or thereabout, if we look at the Lekki axis, you know, from Ozumba all the way to Aja, all the way to Ajiwe axis, the question is, how has that concession helped the government, and how has that impacted on the practitioners and the practice of advertising in Lagos State? And take the learning and the benefits of that before making any further decision on concessioning additional roads. And so if you ask me, or if you ask practitioner, we struggle to see the data or to see the benefit or the uniqueness that particular concession has brought into the advertising industry beyond perhaps rising costs. That then makes us to want to question the recent decision or the current plan to concession additional 7 routes, and to look at that and ask ourselves, what is the implication of this to the current practitioners who have made significant investment on this road, perhaps in the last 10-15 years? Because out of home is like real estate. You cannot wake up or overnight try to take an entire area and to transform. You need to sit with the residents. So in this case, you need to sit down with the practitioners who have invested time and resources to building the economy, who are employing hundreds of Nigerians, and sit with them to have conversations on the best way forward. So I think for us is really around, how do we sit together? How does government recognize the role and the importance of OAAN and investors in out-of-home advertising in Nigeria before making decisions that have very serious impact?
Let me ask Mr. Jufodi, so does it mean that investments have already been made on some of these same mentioned roads by the state government?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the roads are very popular roads. Ikorodu Road, for instance, is filled up, and all the roads are virtually occupied. And our fear is that they're going to chase away those who already have investments there and then bring in new people. That's the essence of the concession they want to do. And like I said, we were partnering with LAASA. Some of these things that we have brought, some of the hoardings that we have brought on the roads are also based on our desire to up our practice in line with what the regulation brought about. And so when they begin to talk about concessioning roads now, it will mean that some of our members who have invested based on the advice of LAASA again, we now have to lose those investments. And that's why we are saying that this is not the right time. These are roads that have been built by government, and the right of way we've been using, and suddenly they say that they want to now drive away those people who are on the roads and then to bring in new people. I think we find that not too good. Yes.
We're talking jobs here too, because when someone invests obviously in a business and something comes up, maybe you have a loan in the bank, you need to pay, you can't pay, of course you start to shed weight. Let staffs go, let me do so. Absolutely. What if impact will this have regards to job loss? Then have you started talking, have you started to try to talk to those relevant, those that could actually intervene and address this issue?
Yeah, the impact is on several fronts. First of all, from a national standpoint, there's a lot of conversation around how do we as a people, as a country, support the non-oil sector such that the non-oil sector can make more or increase contribution to the economy and the revenue of our state and our country. The second point is the fact that there's always there's significant amount of jobs which will be lost if this happens. And the reason is, it's important to first of all look at livelihoods. We've got a sector that is just recovering from COVID. The out-of-home industry was perhaps the most impacted by the COVID from an advertising standpoint over the last 2 years. And while areas such as the internet and TV and video consumption grew, but out-of-home suffered significantly. So it's important to look at that and have that at the back of our minds when developing new policies that we have significant impact on that. And when we look at the entire advertising industry as a whole, I think that there's a lot we can do. There's a lot of effort towards contributing to the non-oil sector. Recent data by Pricewaterhouse shows that Nigeria is going to have the fastest, will be the fastest growing economy from an advertising standpoint in the next 3 years. And that growth is supposed to be at about 12.1% on a compounded annual growth rate. And this is significant. What we don't want is any shock or any trigger that then slows down the growth. When we look at the advertising spend or investment in Nigeria, under a GDP of about $400 billion in Nigeria, compare that to South Africa, which is second from a GDP standpoint, and with a $370 billion GDP. The contribution of advertising in Nigeria is, when you compare to South Africa is about 6 times in terms of the total investment in advertising. And Nigeria, the first in Africa, the number one from a GDP standpoint, is 6 points or 6 times behind. So we need to look at that sector, because there's a whole lot that sector can do from a job creation. There's so many third-party vendors who are connected, to that industry. When you look at even the media and entertainment sector in the whole, there's a whole lot of collaboration and cooperation that happens that will allow that sector of the non-oil economy to grow. And so for us, these are very important factors, and the need for government to sit with the professionals and the practitioners in making this decision.
Now, let me ask you, Mr. Dufo, someone would say that it's like the agency or the regulator trying to also compete with players in the industry, in an industry supposed to regulate. Are you also seeing it that way, like it's a competition coming in from that end?
Well, I do not think so. I do not think so, to the extent that what they have pushed out to the public in terms of the advertisement for the concession of road does not talk about them. But we see them competing in another way. LAASA had some billboards in town that they used to advertise some commercial activities that we feel that should actually go through our members, because we still pay our fees to LAASA, and you earn these fees from when you get things displayed on your hoardings. So that angle, yes, we are talking about that to say to LAASA, commercial adverts should not be placed on those boards. Beyond that, I do not think that this advert has to do with them competing with us. I think that they have other reasons, maybe revenue, like the chairman has said earlier on. But then, if they discuss with us, we can all look at what government wants, and we can all look at put all our good ideas together and come out with something that even government will be happy about.
So what we are looking at now is like stakeholders sit out, where everybody sits around the table and get to understand the issues. Is that what you want as board associations? Is that what you're talking about, or what's your message directly to the state government regarding this?
Absolutely.
Because it's important that you talk to them.
Yes, it's about cooperation and collaboration.
Yes,
that's what the role of regulation is, not to stifle the industry.
Yes,
it is to actually feel the pulse and the pain. In a lot of markets, in a lot of countries where COVID impact, there was a lot of meeting and engagement and concessions, and even stopping certain taxes, just to allow recovery.
True.
Right. So, but for our country, that's what we need to do: sit together, not in one-off seminars or presentation by government when decisions are made, but in the development of the plan. Right. So on the go, when you're thinking about the idea, and I think that's the level at which the engagement needs to start from, not when decisions are already being taken. So our encouragement to government is that, and the regulatory bodies, is to sit with the practitioners and the professionals who have invested time, resources, capabilities in this for decades, in coming up with these policy decisions.
You want to say something around that? Because I want to play the devil's advocate here. That if LAASA goes ahead with what is being planned to be done, what would happen? What would be the impact?
Well, they will chase all of us out, and we'll all go back to the labor market. I think that the essence of government is to keep people in employment. And like the chairman said earlier on, we have about 144 members in Lagos, and the chain goes on from the members. They employ staff. The staff also have dependents and co. So if they chase us out, they will chase they will put a lot of people in employment. And these are people who have also cooperated with government in changing the landscape of the environment. You will recall that not too long ago, we didn't have all the digital platforms.
Yes.
It was in our discussion with LAASA that we had to bring in some of these things, and we are still paying for those things. We have been able to light up places that used to be dark, where people who are not too fit used to hang around. We have been able to use our platforms to clear all those places, and we are still willing to cooperate with LAASA. What we are pleading for is for them to give us an opportunity to talk about this thing, and then present the case and hope that they will see that we are supposed to be partners in progress. So we do not wish that they should continue with this, what they have started. Rather that we will all come back to the drawing table and then hear them, let them hear us. We are pleading that the governor should give us an audience.
What more? I'm thinking about how members or association members will be reacting to some of these issues now, because when I see my investment being threatened, of course, I would be scared. Not even at this time, like you said, recovering from COVID and all that we faced as a country. So what feelers are you getting from the members, and what is also your own direct message to government?
The members are, we've had several meetings. I know that OAAN, like the president of OAAN said, about 150 member associations, some employing as many as 100. And Lagos plays a very key role on what happens across Nigeria. So when Lagos takes a decision or makes a move in this area, the likelihood is that every other state will follow suit, which is a good thing in some way. And this is why it's important to have this level of engagement before it grows out of scale. So the feelers is that it is a big risk to investment. And like I said earlier, out-of-home billboard investment, to put up an LED, sometimes you could spend up to 150 million naira or more, right? To put up just one board. And when you consider this level of investment in multiple locations across different roads across Lagos, and the implications of that. Some of these fundings came from commercial banks, finance banks, and obviously, irrespective of what the government decision is, the borrowers have to repay, and these loans have to be repaid back. So, and of course, there are implications on being able to keep the business and keep the people. While we should be thinking about expanding the scope and growing, then practitioners are now thinking about how do we survive again another wave of this uncertainty. So the reactions have been, very apprehensive, and people, investors, site owners, billboard owners are worried, are concerned about this. We also have an election coming up, and people need to know, people need to be aware about the candidates, about what the candidates are bringing to the table. So there's also a political campaign around the corner, which will move Nigeria to the new So, and out of home breathability, it's so critical, right? So again, this is another reason why it's important to take a breather on this and let these conversations and discussions happen at this time before these decisions are taken.
A parting shot from you. Now, what more do you have to tell us?
Well, we have, the chairman has kind of said everything. What we are pleading for is that they should take another look, and that we have seen what the government has done under the present leadership, and we know that he's also a listening governor. We hope that if he gives us audience and we present our case, I do not think that he will want to see us suffer. Yes,
that's true. Of course, our listening governor. Well, that's it. It's a good way to leave it. Mr. Adelusi, you want to say something?
Well, it's to commend all the positive. Again, governance is a continuity. To commend all the work that the government is doing in various sectors. It's not that easy to govern. But I think it's easier when you listen to the people, particularly on a business standpoint, from an entrepreneurial standpoint. Lagos always talks about, and not only Lagos, government, we always talk about the ease of doing business, right? But beyond the talk, we need to do the do. Yeah. We need to take the real actions that shows that government really supports business, and you want to create an environment that makes it easy to do business, right? When decisions of this impact are taken in sectors where billions of naira are being invested over time, and the key stakeholders are not carried along, then you really question the talk around the ease of doing business. Because for every business, you're thinking about your ROI, right? And the impact of that. Let me close on this. In Asia, in China, in countries in Asia, they always think about business success in terms of number of people and size of corporations and the number of people that are employed. Not just so I could run a business from my laptop in my home and be making billions as a crypto investor or transaction business owner, but it's just me and my family that is in all of that and making all the billions. That is not a successful business. So every business that employs hundreds and thousands, every sector that does that, needs to be supported by government, because this is how we grow the small and medium-sized sector that impact on our economy on the long run. So that would be so let's think about business success from the context of how does it impact and affect the larger community, the larger investors or practitioners, and not just a few.
Interesting way to wrap up. I've been speaking to the president of MIPAN, that's the Media Independent Practitioners Association of Nigeria. He's Mr. Femi Adelusi. And also on the other side, the president of the Outdoor Advertising Association of Nigeria, that's OAAN, Mr. Emmanuel Ajufo. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon and making sense of all of these issues. We hope to get reactions also from the government and even LAASA, if possible, so that we hear their part and understand why this is happening. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.